Hi there, Caroline here, Wisdom Tree Kids. I'm going to put you in my ears. Sorry, I didn't have that set up. We had a little Wi-Fi issue here, and I decided not to work from home, and nobody's in this office, but we're having a Wi-Fi issue. I think I've got it squared away, and then we can have our discussion. And what I wanted to talk about today, I know I said probably wanted to talk about attitude today, but I kind of had a change of heart in the middle of the night. Actually, I woke up and I thought, no, I think I want to change the topic to overcoming fear. And actually, that is the class that I'll be presenting for my series of workshops that are starting next Tuesday. And so I'm going to give you the adult version of overcoming fear. And right now, in this period of time, a lot of us are feeling a little bit of fear, anxiousness. When is this going to end? We don't really know. How do we overcome? How do we overcome that? So it's kind of important to go over that right now, and hopefully it'll be a help to you. I know it's a help for kids, and but I'm gonna kind of kick it up a little bit to be something that adults can use as well. First of all, I'm reading a book, or this is going on now for the second time around that I'm reading this book, and it's called Motivation Manifesto, 9 Declarations to Claim Your Personal Power by Brendon Burchard, Burchard. Brendon Burchard. And you can get this on Amazon. And I don't know if my screen is flipped or not. Someone said that I could flip my screen, and I haven't been able to find where to do that on Facebook because, I'm a novice at this. This is the third time around. Am I less nervous? No, I'm not less nervous. But I feel like I could do my part in helping people, even in this weirdo time we're living in where we can't see each other in person. And it is, if you haven't done a Facebook Live before, I will tell you that it is a challenge in many ways. And for me, because I love feeling the energy from the person that is sitting across from me. And when I can't feel energy from the people that are sitting across, person that's sitting across, or people, sometimes I'm talking to a group of people, I can feel energy and I can get energized. And I think of all kinds of wonderful things to say and questions to ask and things like that. In this way, it is just, I'm talking to myself. That's what it feels like. And if you've ever done this before, I think you understand what I'm talking about. So since I can't feel your energy, I don't even know if you're out there, but I'm going to go ahead and go on and try doing this every day if I can. But this book, Motivation Manifesto, really pricks at your heart. Whew, it doesn't hold anything back. So if you're on a personal development journey, just the first few questions in the book. There comes a time in the lives of those destined for greatness when we must stand before the mirror of meaning and ask, why, having been endowed with the courageous heart of a lion, do we live as mice? Oh. He doesn't stop there. He says, we must look squarely in our own tired eyes and examine why we waste so much time sniffing at every distraction, why we cower at the thought of revealing our true selves to the world, why we scurry so quickly from conflict, and why we consent to play small. That is the whole book. He doesn't stop there. Oh, he has lots of things to say. But he talks about fear. One of the quotes he has, he who is brave is free. I truly believe that. Fear rips us from freedom. It is the destroyer of greatness. We know this, and we know we should tame our mind in order to defeat fear. Yet look at all the adults who act like powerless children and avoid the life they want because of fear. Whew. I don't know. If this book doesn't change your life, I don't know. I also love Jack Canfield. Man, he's great. And I use this book when I talk to teens, and it is the Success Principles for Teens. Awesome, awesome book. If you have teens at home, this is probably one of those books to read together, even as a family. And then I have another one called Do Hard Things. Again, I apologize if my screen is flipped. Do Hard Things is by Alex and Brett Harris. My teen group and I we just ended the book. We just finished the book, and we had Socratic seminars based on this book. And it's pretty powerful. This is a great book for teens. It's a teenage rebellion against low expectations. Woo! So, it's a good one. All right, so Jack Canfield, I want to share this because he always says things very eloquently. There's a quote first that I'd like to share with you. Confront your fears, list them, get to know them, and only then will you be able to put them aside and move ahead. So true. So where does fear come from? Well, way back when, early man had to have this fear in order to stay alive. And actually, we'd never want to get rid of it entirely. It saves our lives, right? It was important for early man to have this because they were in constant peril with anything they do. We don't have that. We don't have to worry about animals attacking us or, terrible things happening to us in our daily lives. Now, we have something that's unseen that has made us fearful. And, that's something we need to address if we have fear about that. But all in all, people are getting well, and it is not so devastating to everyone. So this is staying at home is really doing our part right now, and we're doing the right thing. But that doesn't mean that we still don't have fears. And we should acknowledge it, address it, look it straight in the eye, make some notes about it, and maybe ask yourself where it's coming from. Some fears aren't even ours to begin with. The first 7 or 8 years of our lives, a child's life, we operate with the subconscious mind only. And so it's designed that way so that we can stay alive as children. We take in all information and do not have the ability to discern at that point. So perhaps a parent or sibling or someone had a fear, and now it was transferred to you. You have a fear. It could be a fear of anything, the dark, dogs, anything. So tomorrow I'll talk a little bit about neuro-linguistic programming. I am a practitioner, and I'm also a practitioner of timeline therapy. And I'll get into that more. But those are modalities that help people with limiting beliefs or negative emotions, such as fear, guilt, shame, etc., anger. But I can talk about that another day. We're going to talk about fear today. Sorry, I just went around the bend in the corner. So Jack Canfield, he says, no matter who you are, where we are, or what we're doing, We all have to deal with fear, and many people think that successful people have simply learned to shut off their fears. Not true. Fear is natural, and we all must deal with it. And fear is essentially our brain doing what it's meant to do, telling us to be cautious of moving traffic while we're crossing a busy street, alerting us that the driver ahead of us is swerving in and out of the lane, reminding us to be careful when we place our wallets or purses. Perfectly natural and very helpful. Unfortunately, most people let their various fears or even fear of success stop them from taking necessary action to achieve their dreams. So fear lives in your mind, right? And fear is also an acronym for false expectations acting real. So if you can put it there, a fearful thought, then you have the power to remove it. You can hit cancel, and replace it with a positive thought, okay? So upgrading the lesson, which I have planned for children next Tuesday, talks about managing fear. And managing fear means finding the courage to move through it and just go for it anyway. The fear doesn't go away until you take action. And people often don't regret what they've done in their lives nearly as much as they regret what they didn't do and the risks they never took. Pretty powerful. So I want to talk a little bit about our comfort zones. It's actually an artificial mental boundary that we create based on our beliefs about what we can and cannot do. And of course, it's where we feel most comfortable. And if I were to stay in my comfort zone, I would not do half the things that I do. So I actually force myself, kicking and screaming, to go out of my comfort zone. And of course, as you know, this is a biggie for me to do this. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I just know that I'm going to do it anyways. Whether it's enjoyed by other people or not, it is part of my growth. And I can share this with my students that yes, even I, your instructor, your teacher, your coach, continually does things in her life that are well outside her comfort zone. And I can look them square in the eye and tell them how difficult it is. But even though it's difficult, I'm going to go ahead and do it because I know that it's something that helps me grow. I don't know where this is going to take me. Every step forward, you actually don't know where it's going to take you. And it's usually in a positive direction if you're in that frame of mind. So pushing outside of our comfort zone can be a big source of fear for most people and keeping them from going after their biggest dreams. So what would you do? And gosh, if you are out there listening right now, put it in the comments section or even later if you happen to catch this later. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do? Start dreaming about that. So here's a question. What if we could move through the fear? What if we could shift how we think about venturing outside of our comfort zone so that fear doesn't hold us back? It's possible. And we have the power to do that. And it's all within our thoughts and our mindset. So according to the dictionary, fear is an emotional response to a perceived threat. Big word, perceived. Our emotions are a result of the thoughts we have about that experience and the meaning that we assign to it. We assign the meaning to it. Essentially, our thoughts definitely create the fear. So if our thoughts can create the fear, can our thoughts create helpful thoughts? Thoughts that are more serving, right? So if our initial thoughts create anxiety and fear, we can shift our thinking to thoughts that support us, just like I said, and assign new meaning to that same situation. And shifting our thoughts takes a little bit of practice, but it enables us to shift our feelings from a feeling of fear, which can prevent us from taking action, to feeling of excitement, which can launch us forward. Think about it. If fears were real, we would be afraid of the same thing. If fear of speaking in front of others was real, everyone would be afraid of public speaking. But I'm sure you know someone who enjoys public speaking. And if fear of heights was real, then everyone would be afraid of heights. And everyone knows that not everyone is afraid of heights. Same thing with flying. If that was real, then maybe nobody would fly. So we choose our own experience, and the whole lesson that I have for the kids is letting them know and becoming aware that they can choose their experience. And the whole lesson is designed to teach children how to manage through anxiety and fear that they may feel when stepping outside their comfort zone, and that's natural. They will learn why people experience fear and how to manage the situation so that they can move through the fear and accomplish their goals. Now, there's another lesson that should precede this, but I'm going to include it, parts of it anyways, and it's about neural pathways. Usually when we're afraid to do something, it's because we don't have a neural pathway to support it. And the only way to build new neural pathways is to actually do what we're afraid of, so that we have a point of reference. So fear is natural when we've never done something before, so we don't know how it's going to turn out. Children especially, children that, don't make friends easily, they don't want to step out of their comfort zone to say hi to someone, because they have a fear that that person isn't going to like them, or other ideas that they may have. So, and if a child never steps out of that and say, it's okay if they don't like me. I know that's hard for kids to even grasp, but I'm going to do it anyway and see what happens. So when we look at life like using the scientific method, right, having a hypothesis about a situation and then seeing if it's actually your hypothesis is right in the process, and looking at that way and pulling yourself back and not get too emotional about it, we find out that our whole lives is pretty much based on the scientific method. We just try, right? And we have a hypothesis about how things might turn out. And sometimes they don't work out the way that we want them to work out. And that's a whole nother lesson for a whole nother time. So everyone feels some level of anxiety. I have to watch the time because I have a call in just a few minutes, so I have to get ready for. Sorry. Everyone feels some level of anxiety or fear when stepping out of their comfort zones. If they didn't, then by definition, it wouldn't be outside of their comfort zone, would it? It would be inside. The feelings of anxiety or fear are often caused by the following concerns. Fear of the unknown, 1. 2, fear about our ability to handle what's new. So then it turns into self-doubt. 3, fear of judgment from others. Right? What are they going to think of me if I do this? Are they still going to be my friend? Is my family going to disown me? All of those things. So fear of the unknown. Do you know someone who has remained in a bad job because they weren't sure that they could find anything better? I know people like that. Do you know someone who has stayed in an unfulfilling relationship because he or she was afraid that being single would be worse, or that she might or he might not find anyone better? Of course. Humans can be very resistant to change, even when the change is something that we want. It's the fear of the unknown that can paralyze us. And so if you can, I'm going to give you some tips about how to move through all of those things, from fear to self-doubt to fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. So here are 5 things that you can do, and you can use them with your children too. So the first step is to name the fear. Like I mentioned before, writing something down, taking it out of your head and putting it down on a piece of paper looks completely different. It even has a different feeling. So it's like removing it. So the first step is to name the fear, say it out loud. I am so afraid of blah, blah, blah. So a lot of times people don't want to talk about being afraid or for fear of appearing weak. However, just speaking our fear and naming it can actually lessen the power over us. Think about that. Speaking your fear shifts the fear from being in your head to exposing it, something to be talked about and dealt with. There's no weakness in that. Absolutely no weakness in that. I'm afraid of skydiving. Will I ever do it? I hope so. That's my goal. And I hope I do. And am I scared to death of jumping out of a perfectly good airplane? Yes. Will I enjoy it? Probably. If I have a trainer hanging on to me at the same time. There's a great video out on YouTube. Will Smith, and he explains his experience of skydiving. It's hilarious, but it's profound. So I recommend that you watch that. So the next thing is self-doubt, right? It often prevents us from venturing outside of our comfort zone because you think that you might not be able to handle the situation, that we might not have the skill set, experience, or even courage that is needed to succeed. And this type of fear shows up as a self-doubt and creates feel of failure. Yeah. I view failure as feedback. It's never really failure, it's feedback, it's data. If it didn't work, you know now it doesn't work. That didn't work, so now you can iterate upon what you've created or thought that you could do. So FAIL is first attempt in learning, another acronym. So if your children are afraid of failing, you can tell them it's the first attempt in learning. It's okay. We should fail often, we should fail fast, and we should embrace failing because it's data. It's not really meant to make us feel bad or never take action again. No, on the contrary, we should be relieved. Wow, that did not work. I have another idea and I think it could work now. Or keep trying until something does, right? So the next one is fear of judgment. So the fear of judgment, what will other people think? Sometimes we can be so concerned about what others think that it'll keep us from going for our goals or doing anything that we really truly want to do. So managing that and talking through that too. Exploring the fear. So when you experience fear, embrace it and explore it deeply to understand what's causing those feelings. Here's a Chinese proverb. When you feel fear, invite it to tea. So it means when you feel afraid, ask a lot of questions to get to know your fear. What is it that you're really afraid of? So you can ask yourself, am I afraid of the unknown? Do I doubt my ability? Am I concerned with other people's things? What's the worst case scenario? And for each of my concerns, what is in my control and what's not in my control? And what do I want to happen and why? And the third thing you can do is develop a plan. So look at what you can control versus what is not in your control. And you can plan for what is in your control, and you can build a contingency plan for things that are not in your control. Okay, so the fear will never go away until you take action towards it. There's no other way, right? The fourth thing is visualizing success. Visualize it, you're a success bigger than your fear. You know, grow your passion for doing something that will overcome your fear. And one reason why we can be afraid of the unknown is because our brain doesn't know how to process it. There's no neural pathways for the new situation. So how do you remedy that? You visualize yourself doing exactly what you're fearing. And your brain doesn't know the difference between your imagining it or visualizing it versus actually doing it. It's just recording it. So if you're about to give a talk, if you ever have that opportunity where you have to get up in front of a group of people and maybe offer a presentation about a product, or you're at work and you have to share your idea or whatever, visualize yourself doing it first, not just once, twice, but often. And NLP helps with that as well. And I can go over that on another day. But visualizing success is really important. The only pathway we have are for the current situation, which is already in our comfort zone. And if we remember that our comfort zone is just entrenched neural pathways in our brain that needs to be reprogrammed so we can believe the possibilities out of our comfort zone. So it's really important to build new neural pathways. And step 5 is just to take action. What could be the worst thing that can happen? Yeah, you might fail, but we know now that it's the first attempt in learning. And fear is just false expectations acting real. So show that to your kids. Show them that you are courageous. And if you have any really deep fears, maybe it'll take a while for you to overcome them. So I wish you well, and I hope you're not too bored at home. Reach out to me if you have any questions about anything, about helping your children at home. If they're having difficulties or they're bored or they don't know what's going on and they're frustrated or they're even acting out, that could happen right now. You could go stir crazy. If I didn't have an office to go to, nobody's here, I might feel the same way. And keeping yourself involved mentally with something that you could be passionate about. It's really important to continue working on yourself and continuing making really good use of your time together as a family. And parenting has got to be the toughest job on the planet. I understand. And then you add schooling at home on top of it, right? And then you might be working at home as well at the same time, juggling all of this stuff, all of this new stuff that you may have never had the opportunity to do before willingly, or that you planned on doing it. And here you are having to do it for the first time. And it's up to you whether it's going to go smoothly or not. And remember when I said yesterday, model the behavior that you want to see with your kids. Don't get too worked up over anything. And, you be the calm in the storm in your house. I know it's hard. It's really hard. And, but I think you guys are doing great. You can do it. It might be tough. And, but I know you'll pull through. And my hope is that when we're all done with this sequestering and sheltering in place, that we come out better people, that we're more enlightened, and that we maybe have more patience, and that we've learned a thing or two. Oh, and don't forget to journal what's going on. Don't forget to have your kids journal, whether it's in picture form or words, whatever. Do home videos. Pretend like you are telling someone in the future about your experience under lockdown for so many weeks. Write a book, something like that, something fun. You can still have fun under lockdown. I promise. Anyways, have a good evening, and I will have something else for you tomorrow. Okay? And let me just figure out how I'm going to turn this off. It never tells me how to do this properly. Anyway, thanks a lot, and hope you have a great evening. All right, bye.